Hey guys, I'm back at Chevrolet booth here at the 2019 SEMA show with this, the new Chevy Silverado 1500 racing development truck that currently is participating in the Best of the Desert off-road racing series. But why do a show just on this? Well, there are a lot of rumors out there about what this could be, so I wanted to show you all the components, all the development components on this particular truck and kind of go over it and see what this truck has. Is this Chevrolet's answer to the Ford Raptor? Well, we don't know yet, but this has a lot of the components that could potentially get the Chevy truck, the Silverado, up there. Of course, everything starts with the suspension, so let's come around this way. The frame is basically stock Silverado 1500 frame, but it has a body lift. They're starting basically with a the Chevrolet Trail Boss ride height, but this is a 35-inch tall tire, this mud terrain KM3. But underneath, let's look underneath, because the shocks is what's really important. You can kind of see the custom A-arms and the DSSV Multimatic dampers. These have exterior reservoirs, steel drive shafts, for the four-wheel drive system, skid plates. So take a look at the skid plates, aluminum and steel mixture of skid plates. So as you may know, Chevrolet already has their Colorado ZR2 truck, right? It's using DSSV spool valve, very special shocks. Well, this truck has the development version of the shocks, but much bigger scale. Let's keep walking on the outside. There's kind of a rock rail system, not a fully functioning rock rail, but very similar to the ZR2. And of course, this truck has a full roll cage. You can kind of see what's happening on the back of this here. It's tied inside the cab and it's triangulated down here into the frame. There's a lot of people on this side, so let's keep walking over here. Of course, it has all the lights. Under the hood is a 6.2 liter, basically stock V8. 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. The wheels are stock 18-inch wheels. Like I said, 35-inch tall tire. So much bigger tire than on the current Trail Boss. Before we get on the inside, let's go look on the back. So take a look at the shocks in the back. I mean, I don't know if you could see that, but they're gigantic. And they got skid plates underneath the shocks. Take a look here. Special rear differential on a stock axle with a giant skid plate here as well, and special leaf springs. Basically, the ride height is much higher than the Trail Boss, but the width is the same. So if you think about the Ford Raptor, which is about 6.5 to 7 inches wider than a stock F-150, this particular racing truck is actually just as narrow as a stock Silverado Trail Boss. Here in the back, of course, you have, take a look, fuel cell system, 50 gallons racing fuel, or it's to the specification of the racing series. 2 spare tires, kind of a Baja racks, lights on top, tires. Down here, there is a special transmission cooler mounted outside. Now let's take a look on the inside. These are full Sparco racing seats. Kind of a setup for 2 in the front and actually a 3rd person in the back. Take a look at that. Of course, a full roll cage. You could see here kind of a stripped interior, but the door cards are still here. There are window nets and side mirrors, rear view mirrors. So basically, safety specification to the racing series. This truck already did 1 race at Laughlin, and the driver, Chad Hall, told me that this truck surprised a little bit because it's brand new. It has a lot of development parts, but it ran a similar trail faster than the Colorado racing truck. So this big Silverado 1500 is a much heavier truck, but with this frame and the suspension setup you see here, it's actually able to run a quicker time on a specific off-road trail at Laughlin Race. And partially, of course, it has to do with power, but also, of course, the suspension is a big deal. And Chevrolet has a lot of these parts. So if you take a quick look over here, it's the Colorado racing truck, right? This is where they started with the Chevy Colorado-based, ZR2-based racing truck, and they developed a bunch of parts. So first, it was a production ZR2, then they kept testing off-road with special bigger DSSV shocks, skid plates, steel drive shafts, and a lot of other parts, and then they started offering them for sale. So you can build your own racing truck. But for the Silverado here on this side, the story is a little bit different. They started with a development truck, and then it's not for sale yet. So the parts you see here with the big Silverado DSSV shocks, spool valve shocks, and all the skid plates, and the rear axle protection and bump stops, that's not available yet. So are we really seeing the next Ford Raptor fighter from Chevrolet, or does this foreshadow it? Well, my personal opinion, maybe, because they're really testing a lot of this in racing, and as we know, what you learn in racing, you can expand it to production. I really hope Chevrolet does that with this truck, because the Ford Raptor is still kind of by itself in the off-road world, full-size truck world there. So I'm really hoping that Chevrolet comes back and offers a lot of these parts, maybe as a package. Some people have foreshadowed that it may be called the ZRX, but we don't know that. There's no official word on this yet. And of course, go back for a lot more coverage from SEMA, not just Chevrolet. We also did Ford and many other manufacturers, Honda, and customized vehicles. And also go back to tfltruck.com for news views and real world truck reviews. I really hope I get to drive one of these, because they say the damping capability on this truck, the suspension is pretty amazing. I just hope it makes it to production.